All right, now let's look at the alignment. Let's look at, that's what we're going to be looking at now. But before we do that, let's put all of the puzzle pieces over the last several days together, okay? First is, we looked at You Incorporated. We've gone back to really trying to deeply understand not just what are the strategies behind that decision maker's thought process, but what are the emotions? Very critical, okay? We talked about that buying and selling is stressful, so that person is under stress as you're under stress, which is why after that we looked at what sets world-class performers apart, turning unconscious tendencies into a conscious choice, looking at what might be necessary, might be counterintuitive. So we have a buyer that might be under stress, we have your unconscious tendencies and a need to be counterintuitive. Then we looked at your game film so you can understand your tendencies. You can't manage them like the clicking pen. I could not manage that without being made aware of it. So now that I know that tendency, I can make a conscious choice to either continue doing it or to somehow figure out a way not to do it. So that's the reality of it. I made the joke yesterday, it's cost me some money to buy the pen that clicks. We have to be able to find out what is our clicking pen so that we can manage it. Okay, we understand the emotion. We understand what sets world-class performers apart. We understand our styles. We now have looked at jury consulting and reading what is there. We talked about knowledge-based sales and leveraging, really targeting and leveraging your time most productively, because none of us have a couple of $1 million to spend and sending out millions and millions and millions of flyers and making phone calls all the time. So we have to be very targeted with what we do. We are leveraging several concepts. Decision makers can never have enough time. They can never have enough money. I'm sorry. They can never have enough time. And they can never have enough knowledge. Probably can never have enough money either. That was a slip of the tongue. So we're using that. We're using some basic psychological concepts, cognitive dissonance, activating someone's reticular activating system, while being very authentic and providing those folks with information. We looked at why it works. Now, this is part of the critical part, and this is something where I really wish I had a magic bullet that I could help you with. I really do, but I don't. This is really up to you to internalize what I'm about to tell you. We have worked extraordinarily hard to prepare ourselves to this point. We've understood what the market is emotionally. We've worked on what our value added is. We have these 30 years of experience. We've done all that. We've sent information. It's gotten past the gatekeeper. We have, the information has been very powerful. You've proven that you think like this decision maker. You're very worthy of getting on this person's calendar. Now we have to get on their calendar, and this is the part where I really wish I had a magic potion that I could give you to just get you to believe what I'm about to say. I don't. You just have to believe me, and you will learn and you will believe as you experience your own successes. And that is this. We're going to begin alignment now. And that alignment is going to be making the initial phone call, leaving the voicemail, following up with people. What do we say when we get them on the phone? We're going to create this alignment, all right? And here's the deal. You're about to sit down now and make phone calls. I'm going to make you this promise as well. If you continue to follow this knowledge-based sales process, you're going to need to call out, no doubt about it. But I'll tell you that over time, you're going to get a few phone calls in. Now, how about that? You're not going home after work and getting mass mailers out of your mailbox and phone calling those folks regularly, are you? You're going to get phone calls in. But that's a separate point. I'd love to hear from anybody the first time that happens. It's going to happen. Now, you're going to sit down and you make these calls. I'm sorry I get wired up about this. This is where you have to really mentally be prepared, and that is this. Assume success. Assume success, okay? Why does this work? It helps us to get into the door, okay? We've set the stage. We're ready to call. We have to assume success. Expect to get through. Here's one of the biggest mistakes that we see with sales folks is that they, and folks doing this that don't follow what we're saying here, They do not assume success. So in other words, they allow all of those tactics that they have been aware of their whole career that were designed for an designed for an industrial revolution decision maker. They allow all of that prejudice to come up and all that past experience to come up, and they apply 20th century experience to a 21st century strategy. We're going to assume success. We're going to expect to get through. And the reason we're going to assume success is because this in fact works. Do not revert back to a 20th century mindset for a 21st century issue. We need to make sure that we're ready when this happens. We're going to be developing our own scripts. We're going to give you some of ours, and we're going to be looking at here in a moment. Now, once we make those phone calls, what do we say when we get that person on the phone?